Emily Goligoski with the Women 2.0 in Conversation series here at Perisoma with Julia Hartz, the co-founder of Eventbrite. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about where Eventbrite is currently at.
Sure.
And I know you've had some exciting news this week. If
Absolutely.
You could take us through it.
So Eventbrite is basically the best way to publish, promote, and sell out an event online. And so this week, we're really excited to have launched our first iPhone app, which is catered towards event organizers who are working the door at their event and trying to check in attendees in a quick manner.
And I imagine that mobile is something that you've been asked about on and off for the past year, and probably is becoming an increasing part of your profitability.
It is. It's something that everything that we do product-wise, we look at how can we make our product easier and more efficient. And so really we're looking at this as the first stepping stone to something much greater.
We recently talked as part of this series with Eileen Gittins, the CEO of Blurb.com, the book publishing company, and it would seem in some ways analogous to the work that Eventbrite is doing, the idea that you can empower people online to then go and make something in the real world easier.
Absolutely. That's what fuels us. That's what excites our team is the live experiences. So we feel so excited about enabling and empowering event organizers to bring people together in a live experience around an event. And that's the magic of Eventbrite. That's what gets us up every morning.
How do you know when someone is a good fit for the company?
We hire based on, on expertise and on passion and on focus for what we're doing. So I think that, we're building a really special company and something that we can be really proud of. But really it's that passion and that drive to change an industry, to be part of this disruptive business model that really gets us excited when we meet new candidates.
And so how do you decide who manages what? And I imagine that's kind of been an ongoing process in the years you've been in business.
Absolutely. So when we first began, we were 3 people for 2 years. So we were a live service and we were building our product, but we were iterating on it for 2 years, very product focused. So the way that we divided up the company during these 2 years of bootstrapping and not taking salaries was Kevin was sort of the overall strategist and product development. I took on marketing, customer service, and finance, and Renaud built the site. And it was a beautiful thing to have Renaud in Paris because we had this 24-hour dev schedule where Renaud would build the site while we were sleeping and we'd QA during the day.
What have been some maybe unexpected roadblocks along the way?
I'd say that one of our challenges in the early days was really taking big risks when we thought that maybe it would have an adverse effect on our customer base. So an example is when we went from a freemium service to a paid service, we agonized over it because all of our interests are aligned with our customers at all times, and we felt like we would lose some customers. But in fact, our conversion went up. There was like little to no churn. It wasn't even a blip on our radar. We kind of kicked ourselves for agonizing over it for so many months.
I would like to talk a little bit about your personal work experience.
Sure.
Having worked at MTV and FX, kind of in the entertainment business, in what ways has this been different or potentially more rewarding, kind of being more entrepreneurial?
This industry is much cooler than the entertainment industry, just because I feel like we're really making inroads into something new and unique, and innovation is just south of market especially is just teeming with innovation and creativity.
And for people who are maybe have a steady, daily work life, what recommendation do you have of knowing when the idea is worth making a sacrifice for? Because I imagine that was a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to do it. So you just have to leap. I mean, we are sort of big believers in, not talking too much about the idea before you actually just build it.
What part of the idea do you think most resonated with funders after that 2 years of bootstrapping and building?
Most recently, we raised $7 million from Sequoia Capital, and during that process, I learned 2 things, which is the market, so the market size in the industry and how much potential there is, and 2, execution. And really that seems so cliche to say, but it's true. I mean, we went in there and said, this is what we told you we were going to do, when we chatted a year ago, and we did it. And that was really like this, had this profound impact on the people that we spoke to during our fundraising cycle was, wow, you really did what you said you were going to do. That's amazing.
What would you like to see happen, let's say, over the next 2 years for Eventbrite?
Sure. Over the next 2 years, I'd love to see us, be the market leader in the sort of long tail of events, so small to medium-sized events, and really be able to propel that enablement and empowerment. That's what we're really, really passionate about. Our 5-year goal is to be the only place you would ever go to buy a ticket for any event you would ever attend. So there's a lot between here and there.
The thing that I think is really important to mention is that you and Kevin have a small daughter. And I imagine that becomes a scheduling challenge as far as your work as co-founders.
Yeah, so I think that overall, so working together, we had to have a motto, and that really came from our mentors, Michael and Sochi, which was divide and conquer. Don't work on the same thing at the same time. You get somewhere 2 times faster if you have complementary skills and can work in tandem. So we've taken that and applied that to being parents as well.
And in seeking that first round of capital, were you asked at all about being married to one of the co-founders? Because I imagine that becomes a tricky question for people to wrap their head around as far as, will this work?
Sure. My perception of it is that in any partnership, you have to make sure that those partners are in a healthy relationship. It doesn't matter if you're related or if you're married or, if you're 2 strangers. And so I'd say that the amount of concern that or questions that we received were completely on par with what anybody would receive. I think we got asked generally, how do you work together and how does that work? But I think it's, from our point of view, it's important for any partnership to know where their boundaries are and how they operate together.
Last question for you. When you first walk into the Eventbrite offices, there is a monitor that shows kind of in real time where ticket sales are happening around the world.
Yeah.
And I'm curious about some of the events that you've seen just kind of come through the network.
Honestly, every day we're surprised by a new event, and we share events constantly among the team, and it's so exciting to see all the different kinds of events that can happen, by using Eventbrite.
Well, thank you so much. This was a real pleasure.